behavioral science of a consumer. Now, coming into our research centers all over the world, I mean, we have our headquarters in the US, Ada, Michigan. That's where our most of the research happened on the cosmetics and home care products. Then our headquarters in the Yuna Park, which is basically a Neutralites headquarters, and that's where we do our research on all of our formulations related to health and wellness. Here also in and around US, we have our own farm, in Quincy, in Washington, and outside US we have the organic farms in the China, and that's where the UC China is our agri research center. Our cosmetic research basically is in the Korea, South Korea, and of course headquarters in India is in the Gurugram. We have our manufacturing plants down south in Madurai, Tamil Nadu, and that's where we have also last year we have opened 4 new research labs in India. So in Gurugram we have a research lab for our analytical sciences, method developments, for the formulation development of solid oral dosage forms for the nutrition. And in Bangalore we have our botanical science and egg research laboratory. In Chennai it's a food research lab, and in Madurai, where is our manufacturing plant is there, where we have a pilot plant. So if you look at that, we have more than 75 scientific research laboratories worldwide in a different stream. So with that, I'll come back to the thing which I want to share with the the students and things that if you look at the wellness business or the size of the market, it's like about vitamin and vet management segment is about $130 billion, which is growing with the 3% CAGR. If you look at the wellness and nutrition specifically, it's like even huge. So if you look at the size of the wellness economy itself, which certainly have a lot of other segments and into it, it's a big kind of a market and opportunities. Now, we all had pandemic situations, and all over the world, it wasn't like something which probably the first time it came as a, which does not have a geographical barrier, like, all over the world, everyone has gone through that pandemic. And what we kind of identified that there are, the emerging accelerators which were identified during the COVID phase, that, how does the consumer become more aware, and what are the basic needs which has arrived. So if you look at that, the clean label comes up one of the first newer trend, like the consumer looking for the more clean label. And when we talk about the clean label, it is more of like the product should be free from any preservatives, natural identical colors, or any of these synthetic ingredients into it. So all of a sudden, the awareness of the consumers has increased, during the COVID phase. Of course, transparency and traceability, so that the consumer wanted to know whatever they are consuming is coming from where, and what kind of the transparency the companies are keeping up, or the product have, and the traceability which the product comes from. And that's where what we are practicing from the years long before these needs started comes in picture, where we say that we control the quality from the seed to supplement. Another thing which has come up is the kind of sugar movement. All of a sudden, like, the sugar become like less or no sugar products requirements has increased in the market. Food label literacy, of course, as I said, that the consumers have now kind of very cautious about before what they are taking as a health supplements. They wanted to know about the product and about the ingredients which they are taking up. And sustainability. So environmental sustainability is another thing which is consumer is wanted to contribute and ready to pay, that something, the brand or product which comes from more sustainable source is appreciated. Plant-based movement, I think the vegan is something which is a global phenomena now. We as a country is a kind of the milk and milk product consuming country, but even in India we have seen that this kind of movement is increased, where people are moving away from any source of ingredient which is coming from an animal source. And you would be surprised that Amway practice this plant-based movement for a long time. I mean, one of our biggest brand on the protein is called APP, all plant protein. So, which means we don't use any of the ingredients which are from like milk or milk-related products. Fortifications and increasing the role of science is the thing. So, if we look at one of the quote when I was kind of thinking that what we should start with also is the Greek physicians, Hippocrates, who says that, let the food be your medicine. So, while, here from last 2-3 days, and of course, I myself come from a pharma background and we do a lot of research and development and to make people life, better and consumers, patients' life, efficacious. What the philosophy is coming from long back is that, can we have a food which we are taking and which can help us to have a better life. Now, the philosophy is behind this focus is to around the preventions. Like, so one of the conference where I was talking about, bridging the gap between disease management. And, my view was that, the nutraceutical supplements and these healthcare wellness companies or the product formulations comes even before you get into a disease stage. So bridging the gap is start once you get into a disease and then you start managing it and maintaining it. But, we operate at the level where, how do you actually can get prevented and not get into that stage. Of course, the nutraceutical terms which was coined long back in 1899, which was combination of nutrition and pharmaceuticals, because nevertheless, while the nutrition and the food are kind of prime focus, nobody can ignore the technological advances which has come into a pharmaceuticals. And it is a kind of a, I would say the need and of a nutrition and wellness companies like us also, like which we follow a lot of, that how do we can combine these technologies which we have evolved over a period of time from the pharmaceuticals and comprise them into a nutrition to make it more efficacious and better and kind of more compliant. So yeah, I mean, it's like nutrition is around health, the pharmaceuticals is around curing and making a remedy solutions. The pharmaceutical is typically more around the prevention approach. Now, while it's not that easy, kind of a subject in terms of regulation, because even if you try to find out the regulatory definitions of nutraceuticals, it would be hard to find. And what I'm trying to show here is also that if you look at the world around the regulations, it's very different. I mean, different controlled by the different, regulations and the organizations. While there are a lot of standardizations happened in the pharmaceuticals, all over the globe, in the nutraceutical and food, this is still not there. So we are continuously kind of working with the, different stakeholders in the governments, in the regulatory framework where we want to harmonize the method and processes and the regulations. So as the ring bell is on, I will just see that. So what are the key drivers in nutraceuticals? One of the key drivers in nutraceuticals are like awareness. All of us heard and all of us become more aware about, and I think, I think COVID has one of the key, the motivator, or where people are now more consciously aware, and you can talk about immunity to anyone in the country. I mean, you talk to any layman and talk about immunity and kind of things, he will have a lot of to contribute and talk about it. So all of a sudden the awareness has increased. Like people wanted to more aware about their health and prevention kind of things. Increasing in the lifestyle diseases like diabetes, hypertension. We are talking about like from last 2 days. They are still two of the major the disease which is there. Food quality. I mean, there is certainly a level of the deteriorations, I should say, or the kind of shift in the quality of food which we used to eat, like the lot of Western diet which we have adopted, and whether that is suited for our environmental or the body type is still a question. So that's there. The affordability has increased. Certainly, the people have become more affordable. There are, the disposable income has increased, so they can afford more kind of health supplements kind of stuff. And of course, the natural trends. So these are the key kind of growth drivers for this. So what are the different opportunities if you look at that, from that? So certainly innovating a delivery formats, and as I was talking about that in pharmaceuticals, we have made a long way on the developing technology platform like, say self-emulsifying drug delivery systems, right? The sustained release formulations, delayed release, combination of the targeted release formulations. Now, can some of this technology be used into an health supplement to make the product more efficacious for the consumer? And we do have a kind of a, some of the research going on especially on the sets to work on the fish oil to improve the absorption of fish oil, DHA and EPA, to improve the cardiovascular health, or in general the cholesterol health. So that kind of technology's adoption is kind of an opportunity. The opportunity is on the sustained release, like one of the products which we launched during COVID was on sustained release vitamin C. Like while we have seen that a lot of vitamin C high dose formulations popped up into a market and people were consuming them left, right and center, but the research suggests that beyond 400 mg if you consume a vitamin C, it necessarily doesn't get absorbed into our body. While it's a water soluble vitamin, but still the receptors get saturated. So it is a need that if anything which is beyond 400 mg is going, it has to slow release and should be released over a period of time. So that kind of technology is an opportunity and things which we are adopting and building up into our nutraceuticals. So I mean, I'll quickly go through some of technological innovations, synthetic biology, Ayurvedic legacy. Of course, we are a country of huge, science-based Ayurveda, which was there, and we are adopting a lot of Ayurvedic concepts to bring them to a science, and things like when we develop a product around the tulsi, we ensure that we are able to identify the marker compound uracilic acid up to an end product in the formulations. So not only into the extract, but also up to an end product. Similarly, like when we worked on the ashwagandha, then methanoids, content of methanoids into it was one of the key research which we worked internally in India and developed. So product development strategies, investment in verifying the health claims, and investment in the research to do more of the behavioral and also clinical stuff. So we are doing a lot of initiated now a lot of clinical studies onto some of our formulations, where we're going to be doing double blind the clinical studies to evaluate and measure the effect of the formulations on the overall health. So what continue to be remain a challenge for health supplements and nutraceuticals is, of course, the changing regulatory climate. I mean, it's good, it's for good, but as we are seeing that it's evolving. It's not that, as I was talking about, it's not that standardized all over the world, but also within India also we are seeing that we are slowly and steadily evolving and bringing new regulations. So these all changes are kind of become challenging because we need to redo a lot of formulation and understand them. Of course, cultural customization is another need, and you see if we see it in India is like you can relate it like in Europe. I mean, because culturally we are so different. Every 100 kilometers, our food habits, our cultures, traditions, everything change. So for us, when we fall into the formulations which are fall in India, which fall under the food, we need to be very sensitive of cultural customization, and we need to customize a lot of formulations related to the acceptability. Of course, cost and claim efficacies. Sensory organoleptic, as we are moving more now from the, as you must have seen outside, we have our stall where we have put up our innovative products. You will see we are now also moving from a tablet capsules formats to a gummy and more of a food format like bar and drinks and kind of things. And that required a lot of sensorial and organoleptics, to be adopted for an consumer. And of course, the pharmaceutical versus nutraceutical is always going to be a kind of an gray area and continue to be, evolving as we move around the regulation. The key trends, you see Ayurveda for immunity is one of the key trends which is now coming up. The demand for clean label nutrition, holistic nutrition for a better health and wellness, clean nutrition for mental wellness, rising consumer drive for convenience, and the rise of the plant-based meat and milk. So these are the rising trends in the nutrition and wellness industry right now. I mean, I won't go into detail of it, but just to mention the mental wellness. Mental wellness is all of a sudden has gotten very attention post specifically the COVID, and you will see that there are a lot of products and demands that arises. Even in the pharmaceuticals, there are a lot of developments happening to improve the mental well-being.
I think the time.
So this is the last slide, and at Amway when we work on the research and develop a formulations, we keep that human-centric design thinking research framework, which is more of understanding the consumer base, exploring and editing the prototypes, and then implementing the product and materializing it. So with that, thank you so much, and thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, and I think we are running out of time. We don't have much time for question, but I'll just, one comment or question which I can ask is, you mentioned that there are several manufacturing hubs in India. So those manufacturing hubs are meant for distribution of product in India or abroad also?
So manufacturing hub means about Amway, you mean? Yeah, so Amway,
yes,
we have a manufacturing facility in Madurai, and where we are manufacturing almost our 99% of product which we distribute in India is manufactured in India at that site, and from there also we are exporting. So we are exporting to Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, and some of the European markets are under consideration.
Yeah, so how much of the percentage revenue export or distribution within India can?
So in India we don't account that revenue because that's only a manufacturing which we does. So the revenue actually falls under that. But if you talk about the manufacturing capacity, I think we use about 15 to 20% of capacity to do that.
Yeah. And this is just for the benefit of students, that sure, in case they. And second is for technical, there is a lot of purification steps, analytical steps involved in nutraceuticals. So most of the analytical groundwork is done in United States and technology brought here, or from India the technology goes outside.
So yeah, so thank you for asking this question. I think this is where. So if you ask in India, we were like when we are like 25-year-old in India. So most of technology we were adopting from the US and tailor-making it to meet the Indian regulations. But as I said, that we have now the research labs investment done in here. Now we are actually developing a product which are going actually for an outside India. So recently we have developed a product which is going to US for manufacturing. So we developed a product here. They will manufacture and actually the product is developed for a Brazil market. And similarly, we are developing a product for Indonesia market here, and then the Indonesia will produce that.
Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Arjun, for that interesting perspective on nutraceuticals. So we are delighted to now welcome our next speaker, Dr. Kamla Rai. Dr. Kamla Rai is currently Vice President, Senior Global Program Head, Global Health Development Unit at Novartis in Hyderabad. She did her MD from All India Institute of Medical Sciences and had previously worked with Merck as Research Director. She has been awarded with numerous awards like DST FICCI Award for Excellence, Amsonian Ambassador Award, and Global Diversity and Inclusion Award by Global HR Board of Novartis. So with this introduction, I invite Dr. Kamla Rai to deliver her talk on drug development, emerging trends and perspectives. Over to you, madam.
Thank you, chairpersons. Am I audible at the back? Awesome. First, I would like to thank the organizers, but above all, my special friend, Shyam, for inviting me, because ideally, this year end, and I think Arjun knows it, we from the corporate world, it's closing for us, and we have a lot of activities lined up at the end. But I think it was for Shyam's insistence, and I thank you so much for giving me the opportunity, because I wouldn't have it any other way. This Saturday, I would rather spend with all of you. So quickly, in fact, I think, Arjun, you made my life very simple, because the context which you set has really, you stole some of my thoughts. In fact, some of your key takeaways from your slides, especially when it comes to the growth of nutraceuticals. I am a consumer of Amway products, and I think one of the best products is the home product, which takes away stains. It's the very kind of the robust stains which don't go away. Amway has a nutraceuticals. I consume those as well. So I think, thank you for that. Thank you for also highlighting the trends and above all the design thinking. Maybe by the time I can, it's not in my presentation. Ideally, I've stopped preparing slides I've begun to believe there's something called death by PowerPoint meetings, right? So I've stopped making slides, and I kind of wanted to stretch the envelope, and I said, Shyam, can I just do a talk without slides? And Shyam said, nahi, kuch to kar lo, 3-4 slides hi bana dena. So yesterday night, I came back because we had a global visit from, so I was a little busy and I had no slides. I said, okay, I had my thoughts. I said, okay, I'll just put together in my slides. So 10:30 is what I put together, and I had a pleasure because I think we have so many perspectives, right? I spent 22 years in the industry, and I know Viraj as well. We've been in this journey together, and we have all these perspectives. So I think it was easy for me to just but I think the important thing that I want to kind of highlight is, I'm not here to do a data dump, or I've not gathered information for the information's sake. I think the important thing is I just want to unleash curiosity. If I have done that, I think my job is done over here. It's not an information overload. I hope it is not. I really want just to stress on 2 or 3 key takeaways, and I kind of take a cue from you because I've taken 2 or 3 key takeaways from your presentation. So I don't know where my slides disappear, baby. Sorry? To give away my password. Okay, no problem. Thank you. Okay, so while we are warming up to this, so I think just to take a cue from, we'll do a little bit. Are you game for a interaction? Yeah? Okay, I'm going to ask a question and the chairperson will give you an award. Okay? So the question is, Arjun talked about the growth of nutraceuticals, wellness. So please, anyone who's been paying attention, what was the size of nutraceutical in the wellness space? You raise your hand, fastest finger first. You're not allowed, you're the front. You're the most no. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to be rude. Sorry, how much was it, sir? No, you're the only one. So big round of applause to him. He gets it right, it's 4.5 trillion. And I think it's amazing, isn't it? Because the healthcare industry that we all represent, you know how big our market is? Anybody? If wellness is 4.5 trillion, you said? Trillion? And you know how much Indian economy is? 2.5, 2.6 trillion. So the wellness industry is bigger than the Indian economy. So how much do you think is healthcare? Students of NIPER, you're the smartest from India. You need to get this right. You're working for this industry. Anybody? It's 1.3 trillion. 1.3 trillion, 1.4. It's going to be, by 2027, it's going to be 1.7 trillion. So I think it's huge. And out of which, how much is the pharmaceutical industry? I'm so sorry, apologies for this. it's the controls in my company. I'm not allowed to give a USB, and apologies for that. That's why I couldn't download it. Yeah, so I think the industry is huge, and 10% of the healthcare industry is pharmaceuticals typically. So I think I'm very happy that all of us continue to grow this industry, because after oil and gas and food, I think healthcare is the largest employer. And according to WHO, about 65 million is the current workforce of all of us put together. We are about 65 million that contribute to 1.7 trillion, and we are 15 million short. So that's a huge demand, and I think Arjun pointed out about some of the automation, and maybe that would really help address the gap that we have in workforce. So, okay, can we go back to one slide, please? Go back. Oh, sorry, I should be doing it? Okay, so disclaimer, these are my views, not my company views. Yeah, I think you heard Arjun say about mental health and how nutraceuticals is playing away. What I wanted to do over here is, there are two things that are impacting healthcare. While it is a large industry, it's about 1.7 trillion, but if you look at the statistics, it's quite alarming when it comes to the global burden of disease. And the issues that we have, the current model is the patient goes to the hospital, right? But I think that's where the problem is. The problem is it's a problem of time and space. And mental health and well-being, health equity, transformative medicine. You heard how Arjun described the transformative, the synthetic biology and all of that. Maybe if with the time we'll go through that. We need to reimagine global health in its entirety, the preventive aspects of health, not just test and treat, but prevent and cure. Digital transformation. Of course, we'll explore some of these perspectives. And I loved when Arjun stressed sustainability. It's a big thing nowadays, right? So environmental, social, and governance. I'm just reading how, unfortunately, while doctors want you to avoid pollution and all that, but you know, healthcare is the biggest contributor to greenhouse emissions. I think it's so unfortunate. Healthcare industry is 4%. It's responsible for adding to the carbon footprint. And that's unacceptable. In fact, China just published a paper that about the 70% increase in birth defects because of environmental pollution. And this is an absolutely burning need today. Climate change is upon us. And while we contribute to the issues of, we use a lot of plastic in our pharmaceutical value chain, we use a lot of, so carbon neutrality is something that we should be consciously aware about. Social, our previous speaker already highlighted sustainability and how health is not just about treating, but also considering the social determinants. And some of these perspectives, given the time, I'm happy to take you through. So interestingly, what's the scorecard of the industry? And till yesterday, I just looked up quickly. We have about 84 novel substances that are launched in 2021. Launched, I don't mean approved. Approved is 50. And the total launches in 20 years, about 883 novel compounds have been launched. And interestingly, the orphan drug registration is about 40, out of which first in class is about 60%, and others are about 40%. And out of the FDA approvals, about 50 FDA approvals last year, although it was dominated by small molecules, but slowly if you look at various reports, be it Evaluate Pharma or Deloitte or any other report, you will see that the biologicals are slowly getting to be at the center of approvals. So they're gaining ground. So biologicals are in fact perhaps a big competitor to the small molecules when it comes to the therapeutic modalities. And these are all approved. So even oligonucleotides are approved by the FDA. I love this quote by Marshall Goldsmith. What got the industry here won't get us there. And some of the points Arjun already pointed, we need a renaissance. We need a change in the way we work. We need a